What's up, Big Brother Canada fans? Welcome to the Season 5, Episode 3 recap brought to you by Morty's TV. Head on over to mortystv.com for live feed updates. If you saw my Episode 2 recap, you would know that Mark was evicted. But something certainly happened that changed Cindy's and Netta's mind to evict Mark instead of Dimitri. So why was that? The episode kicks off with a flashback to 20 minutes before the vote. Bruno tells us the plan is to send Mark packing, which is already confusing because in episode 2 it seemed like they all wanted to keep Mark. So now Bruno decides maybe they should flip the vote. He doesn't trust Cassandra, and Netta knows Cassandra is dangerous and they don't want to give her any more power as she was fighting for Dimitri to stay. Yeah, no shit, guys. Mark told Bruno that the reason he is going home is because Ika and Gary led the charge. Bruno tells Ika and Ika goes to talk to Mark. Mark tells Ika that he overheard Cassandra mention that Ika and Gary were leading the charge, and Gary got pissed. So he starts walking around and he's saying stuff under his breath, but he doesn't actually say anything to Cassandra. Gary goes back in the room and tells Netta and Ika that Dimitri is going home. Then we see Cassandra, Dre, Mark, Gary, Netta, Jackie, and Ika in the room, and Gary and Cass keep exchanging words, and Cass is trying to calm Gary down, but he just won't listen. Then there's a quick house meeting to get to the bottom of it, and we find out that Mark made it up to save his ass. Wow, you could have played it differently, Mark. The girls get together and say they are going to vote out Mark, but the guys don't agree with it, and we know what ends up happening. Damn, that was a lot to talk about in just the first few minutes. Now we see Gary and Cassandra make up from all the drama. They promise to talk to each other alone instead of doing it in front of all the other house guests. Cass says they need to be friends with Netta and they need muscle, but Cass has Dimitri, so they seem pretty set. Cass tells Dimitri he needs to win HoH for her. So with that being said, let's head on over to the HoH competition. It's called Balls to the Wall. In round 1, everyone is randomly paired up. There's a bunch of numbers on a wall, and all the house guests have to do is kick a ball at the wall, and the house guest with the highest score will advance. The 7 winners will advance to the next round, and the house guest with the highest score will be the new head of household. The first round is Netta versus William, and Netta wins. Dre faces Jackie, and Dre beats her. Next up is Bruno and Kevin. Bruno doesn't want to win 2 comps in a row, but he smokes it right in the middle, which is the highest score you can get, and he beats Kevin. Now we have Cindy and Dylan, and Cindy skyrocketed her ball towards the ceiling, so yeah, Dylan won that round. Dimitri beats Ika, Dallas beats Cass, and Gary beats Emily. Here goes round 2. Netta goes up first and scores a 7. Dre is up next and gets a 1. Bruno gets a 2. Dylan gets 1. And then Dimitri is up next and he scores a 17 and takes the lead. Dallas is up next, but he completely shanks it. And last up is Gary, and he hits a 16, which means Dimitri is our new head of household. Dylan is of course in trouble, Cass is of course super happy, and now Bruno is a little worried. Ika tells him not to worry. Ika is going to tell Dimitri that they wanted the house to split the vote to make it seem the vets aren't working together. So that's exactly what Ika tells Dimitri, and he's like, okay, I'll patch it up with Bruno. Ika tells Dimitri that he needs to worry about Dallas and Dylan. Instead of getting a letter, Dimitri actually gets a video message from his parents, which was a nice touch. Now we see Dallas talking to Dylan, and Dallas tells us that they have a pretty good friendship going on, and they both think that they are going up on the block. Dylan is talking to Emily, and Emily tells him to go talk to Dimitri. Dylan starts to get emotional because he knows this is going to affect Dallas's game because they're so close, and probably Emily's game because they have been hanging out a lot. Emily tells Gary that Dimitri is going to put Dylan and herself or Dylan and Dallas up. Gary tells her to go talk to him. So, she goes to talk to Dimitri. She asks if she's going up, and he says he hasn't thought about it, but Dylan is going up for sure. Now we get to see how the have-nots are being decided. The 7 house guests that lost in the first round of the HoH competition are the options. Cass, Ika, Cindy, and Emily are the have-nots, and they get to take a look at the amazing have-not room. Dimitri is loving the HoH life because all the girls are visiting him and just chilling with him in the bed. You can't blame the guy. Dimitri is now talking to Ika, and he tells us that she's his #1 alliance. Ika says that Dylan, Dallas, Emily, or Jackie has to leave this week, and Dimitri agrees. Now we see Dallas telling Dylan to go talk to Dimitri, but Dylan just won't do it. Dallas tells us that's a rookie mistake and he's learned that lesson, so he goes to talk to Dimitri and tells him that he will keep Dimitri safe next week if he wins the HoH, and even Dallas's vote will be Dimitri's vote this week. The mood gets a little lighter in the house when Dre teaches some of the guys how to twerk, so go ahead and enjoy. Now we see Jackie talking to Dimitri to see if she can be safe. She tells him what he wants to hear, but was it enough? Before we head to the nomination ceremony, Jackie said she was going to lay low, but as she's doing some cleaning in one of the bedrooms, Karen tells Jackie that someone told her that Jackie was taking the lead to get Dimitri out. Jackie, of course, asks who said that, and Karen says, I don't know. So Jackie calls her out and says, I think you are making it up to cover your ass. And Karen says that Jackie actually mentioned it to her early on, and Jackie flips out. She walks out, she says she's shaken, and she goes and talks to Cass and Ika, but then Karen goes to Dimitri and tells him to put up Jackie, and he said that's what he was thinking about doing. It might have just been some good editing to make it seem that that's what was happening in the moment, but most likely Karen went to Dimitri a little bit later. So, is that exactly what happens? Does Jackie get nominated? No, she doesn't. Dimitri nominates Emily instead of Jackie. Dimitri says that she's a vote for Dylan, so she's just a pawn. And that's your episode 3 recap. What do you think of Dimitri's nominees? Should Jackie have gone up? Is Karen getting too into the game that it's just a matter of time for the house to turn on her? Comment below and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with these episode recaps. Until next time, I'm Chris and I'm out.